Hey guys, Mad Dog here, and today we're going to be talking about how to optimize Final Fantasy 15 for your AMD graphics card. Specifically, in this case, I'm running an R9 390 with 8 gigs of video RAM. I've actually got 2 of them, but crossfire doesn't work at all in this game, so I don't get any benefit from that. So, let's talk about what settings I ended up with here. So first of all, we're running at 1080p, which is fine. I'm running VSync on. I do have a 144 Hz FreeSync monitor, so we're not going to be tapping up against the edge of those capabilities. We're running the in-game built-in FPS meter. That's what's going to give us the information. Down here in graphics, you can see we have the frame rate set to a limit of 120. Same thing, we're not going to be running up against that. No big deal. Resolution is 100%, our full 1080p. We're using average model LOD. I've played with this a little bit. Does not seem to affect the visual quality while I'm running around that much. Turning it up versus down, there's not a lot of pop in. Basically at average or above. And you can save just a little bit of frames in that. We have 8 gigs VRAM, so I'm running the highest texture memory usage. High on the anisotropic filtering, and that's a little bit on memory speed. We're going ahead and running the Geo-Mapping. You need to make sure you have the newest AMD drivers if you want to run Geo-Mapping. Otherwise you get stutters, and that's actually part of their release notes, but the new versions actually fix that. I'm running high shadows and high lighting. I like that. Ambient occlusion is off. That's a big hit to your frame rate. Anti-aliasing at FXAA, which is the cheapest option. No motion blur because I hate it, the highest filtering, and of course no NVIDIA effects. So, let's run around a little bit.
Easy as they come.
The Prince of Pain.
Yep.
This should take You're on fire today.
No big deal.
So as we're running around, we maintain pretty close to 60. This is a pretty foggy area. That's a little harder on the frame rate. 62-ish right there, but in battles it seems to drop down all the way to about 50. Now the FreeSync monitor I have functions at 55 to 144. So I'm not getting the full use of the FreeSync in battles. I could turn the settings down a little bit, but I'll be honest, at these settings I don't seem to notice any stuttering or anything weird like that that might cause me to want to turn the settings down a little lower. So we're staying, it's looking like 4.7 gigabytes of VRAM usage right now. That seems pretty reasonable.
Hold up. Deadeye. The name says it all.
Now I understand why the chocobos were so scared. So yeah, at 1080p, the game seems to run very well. I have no issues, no hitches or stuttering or anything like that I really need to worry about.
We'll stay in range until we can exploit its blind spot.
Those drops down to 50 really aren't super noticeable in this style of game, for me at least. And since this game was really designed for 30 frames per second on the console, they did a really good job of making, you know, lower frame rate very playable. So let's go ahead and turn it up. This is actually a 1440p 144 Hz monitor, so I want to try to run it at 1440p. I played with these settings too, so let's talk about what I'm going to do to make this work. First of all the way up 1440p, leaving FreeSync on, of course. G-Sync that is, or down to our graphic settings, same thing, 120 frame rate limit. We want 100% resolution, so we get a full 1440p. Still use the best TRAM. We're going to turn down the anisotropic filtering to more in line with the VRAM speed that we have. We are starting to, at this resolution, we're starting to bounce against that top end. I really like the Geo-Mapping. It looks really nice. I'm going to leave it on, though I do take a little bit of a performance hit for it. I like turning the lighting and the shadows down a little bit. It's a pretty low visual cost comparatively, but it's also a pretty low frame rate cost. I get about 2 frames per second on lighting and 2 frames per second for shadows at 1440p. Filtering still at the highest. That doesn't seem to affect the frame rate hardly at all. And let's see how we look. So same area, we were getting 59-ish, now we're getting 47, 46. I would say this is not an average area. This fog seems to be using a lot of the GPU horsepower here. This area does seem to be a little more intensive than a lot of the other just running around outside, but I think that's good. It's kind of giving you a worst case scenario for how your game's going to be running. And 40 looks like, you know, 46 up to 50 here just running around. It still feels very reasonable. It's not like jumping all around. There's no big stutters. Very smooth, consistent.
Kidding me?
The odds are against us. One false sweep. Hooked up.
Oh, hi there, opening.
I'm impressed.
It's nothing. Never fear, Prompto's here.
One last push. It's a fight to finish them off.
A D for offense. I did exactly what they said. I blew them up. So there you have it, guys. At 1080p, this game runs really well with the R9 390 8GB. At 1440p, some sacrifices have to be made to get it to run smooth. Not to mention that I'm just kind of accepting that I'm not gonna get, you know, that full average 60 frames per second, and that seems all right to me. Considering how well the game runs, I think I'm going to run it at these settings right here that you're seeing and not really have any complaints.
Turn that one knocked.
Thanks for coming along, guys, and I hope this helps some of you out with getting your game optimized for your graphics card, whether that's a 390, a 290, or really anything else. You know, obviously, if you've got something a little lower end, you might have to turn the settings down farther. If you happen to have something a little newer, you're going to get to turn the settings up a little bit. Make sure to hit that like button if you like this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing here on the channel, and I hope to see you all here again next time.